The following podcast is for informational and entertainment purposes only. Nothing said on the podcast should be construed as investment advice, nor should anything said be relied upon as the basis for any investment decision. Any reference to an investment's past or potential performance is not and should not be construed as a recommendation or as a guarantee of any specific outcome or profit. All opinions expressed by hosts or guests on the podcast are solely their own personal opinions and do not reflect the opinion of everymickle.com or any company affiliated with the hosts or the guests. Hosts and guests on the podcast may maintain positions in securities discussed in the podcast. Neither everymickle.com nor its affiliates or subsidiaries warrant the completeness or accuracy of the opinions expressed herein, and they should not be relied upon as such. Strategies and investments discussed may fluctuate in price or value and may not be suitable for you. They do not take into account your particular investment objectives, financial situation, or needs, and they are not intended as a recommendation to buy or sell any security mentioned. Speak to a licensed investment advisor before making any investment decision.
I'm going to try.
Tweet about it.
Earnings season, bro.
Hi guys, Randy here. It's been a while since you've heard anything from us from this stream, right? Well, if you love the conversation, the market focus, especially the local market focus on stocks and so on, Dana and I have continued the conversation on Twitter each week. In case you didn't know, some of you might know, some of you might not, but we do it on Twitter each week. If you want to find it, just check out my Twitter account at RTRoarDanaiZone, at HDanai, or you can just search Twitter for #BrickTalk. It's the same conversations plus a whole lot more. And unlike with the podcast, you guys can actually join in on this one, right? Of course, we also upload those episodes to YouTube. But if you're like me, if you're a podcast purist, then I'm going to start putting the audio of the Brick Talk up here on stream. I've always said that earnings season isn't dead, and I know that there are plans in place for it to continue. Well, what you're hearing today is part of those plans, right? Today's episode, however, is a little bit different. Recently, I did an episode with the guys over at the Limitless Podcast, and Matthew and Theon were great to have me on. I was very, very thankful for that, and it actually kind of reminded me about the old earnings season days, right? So just like at earnings season, the conversation went kind of long. And of course, unlike us, they decided to split it up into parts. So what you're about to hear is part one of that, right? I hope you enjoy it. If you do, leave a comment or a rating, depending on wherever you're listening, and give the guys over at Limitless Podcast a follow, right? When you're ready to hear part two of the conversation, head on over to the Limitless Podcast stream and it'll be there waiting for you. So there should be a link in the show notes to the podcast along with a couple of discount codes over there. And there's not just discount codes for this, but also discount codes for, My Money JA, advisory sessions with Danai, and of course the Grow Investment course. I threw those stuff in after realizing that the date on which I was recording with the Limitless guys was the official 3-year anniversary of the earnings season podcast. So it's been a hell of a ride. And so on behalf of Danai and myself and everybody else who's worked with us, thank you guys all for listening, all right? Enjoy this Limitless episode and keep investing. It's Randy, and I'll catch you guys soon. I'm talking to you guys and it's funny. I'm realizing, sometimes you don't realize how far you've come until you have some reason to look back or you see something that you're like, wow, that used to be me. Mm-hmm. Right? And I realize I do a thing every week in front of people. And as you guys know, I also do something privately.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
Multiple times a month, every month. And I've done that for years going back now. Mm-hmm. And I don't view it that way, but now I'm realizing, it's more natural for me now to just do a speaking thing, recording thing. And so, yeah, I'm thinking of the listener almost. That's another thing I always do. I don't know if that's a personal thing. I'm almost always thinking of the listener when I'm doing what I do.
Yeah, that helps a lot.
Also links back to investing. I'm almost always thinking of the investor when I'm investing. Not myself and the person on the other side.
Exactly, on the other side of the trade, for sure. That's also what I do in investing. Because for me, I used to set goals, and it's just like, okay, I'm going to sell this stock at $2, just say. But I now think of it as, why would somebody buy the stock from me at $2? I think that's a much better way to think of like goals for me, because it's now a real. It makes it very real to you. It's like now it forces you to come up with the reasons as to, why would somebody buy this at $2, right? And why at this time?
You guys used to bring that up on Brick Talk a lot, Randy.
Tell me that you've done grow without telling me you've done grow, because that's a grow thing. Completely.
Yeah.
Yeah. You're right. You're right, person. I said that a lot on Brick Talk. I reference it because as well as you guys would know, and the people who do grow up know. I really it grew from my how I do Twitter. Almost everything I do publicly is really I do it with a targeted audience in mind. So the people who have done grow get a lot more out of the things that I do in public, because when I'll say things like we have inside jokes. I'll say, well, look like Bolt, you know, and that just means something to the people that have done grow. And in the same way, like the concept you just mentioned, Theon, as something that I try to get across to people also, that you not think like people are the market. That's one of the grower principles that I stress, because you need to remember, like in my mind, I think I say the greater fool, and you are also the greater fool. I am the greater fool, the fool on the other side of the trade, right?
Mm-hmm.
And so thinking like immediately once you start thinking like that, you get a whole lot better at investing. Like I've seen that empirically.
That's definitely when the transition happened for me. Like when I started seeing it like that, everything changed. The way I even view companies changed, right? And then you have to now take into consideration the market, because right now, so it's so funny how Preston and I will like reference previous things, because to me in my head, I just started the other day, but now I've been investing since 2019, so I have like a couple of years of how the market has been, and you can literally see the change in the market. You can see how the market responds to certain things differently now, like certain maybe news or corporate actions in companies, and you're just like, this now, and you stress it a lot. The retail investor, that space is huge now, right?
Huge.
Like
It's the majority of the market now, but and I think it always was the majority of the market, but it is now very obviously felt. And as I agree with you. You can see in everything. I would say in everything there's a difference. Even the market is still slow, but it's slow in a certain way now.
Yeah, exactly.
The market is they still react to certain things, but they
react more to certain things.
But even the reaction is different, either in form or intensity or everything. Look at even just the quote unquote dollar dip. The supposed dollar dip compared to the one-on-one dip.
Yeah, that's very true.
There isn't really a one-on-one dip, right?
I mean, granted, yeah, there isn't really. If you compare them, then yeah, there isn't.
If you look, no, go ahead. Sorry.
No, you're right, because dollar had a more drastic dip. You could see a lot more stocks falling, and to a greater percentage fall. Right now, one-on-one is causing a bit of. You can tell there is some effect, some ripple effect from the prospectus even came out in certain companies. You see in certain things halt down, like our QWI halt down the other day to like 59 cents.
You think that's one-on-one? You think that's one-on-one or just karma?
No, I just think.
Yo, shots fired.
No, it's not necessarily one-on-one, but it could be, because I mean, the Q was always a bit scanty. And now you see a prospectus come. I feel like sometimes every time you see a stock go down and the queue is usually scanty, it's sellers coming in, and it's just like, I'm wondering if maybe it's people in this QWI. I don't know if people are still.
How many units actually traded at that price though?
I don't know. I'd have to check.
Oh, but and the thing is with the quote unquote dollar dip, there were other stuff happening too, because that was right after. I think that was when a lot of reports dropped, and our usual expectation.
And there were talks of recession at that time too.
Yeah, and then so the expectation.
Still talks of recession, no.
Isn't the US officially in a recession now?
No, well, it depends on who you voted for, but it is no. I don't think it officially is, or maybe it is. Yeah, officially. Yeah, you might be right. Actually, it's what, two quarters of lower growth.
Oh, I think
But
negative.
then the definition of that might be changing, like I said, depending on who you voted for. But Hi guys, Randy here. Just taking a moment to remind you to check out mymoneyja.com. mymoneyja.com. That's the best place to keep track of your portfolio. If you're investing on the local market, if you really serious about making money on the local market, or if you just want to keep track of the money or some shares where you know you have from a long time, go to mymoneyja.com and set up an account, right? We have 3 tiers. There's a free tier, a pro tier, and a premium tier. And all 3 of them are great at helping you to keep track of your money. I mean, the premium tier is the best, but anyone you choose, you choose. If you want to see what the premium tier is like, click the trial button and check out the trial. We have loads of features and they just keep coming, right? Those of you who might be thinking, well, I really like this. When is the app coming? The app is literally being tested as we speak, so you don't have to worry. You will get access to the app also. And the premium users will actually get access to the app first, because that's who we're going to start the public testing with first. So regardless of the app, or if you don't even know about it and you want to learn and you want to keep track of your portfolio, keep track of the money on the market, mymoneyja.com. Think of it like the friend who is always into stocks and know what's going on, but them always paying attention to the market. I mean, one of our great features is the fact that we can send you an alert immediately as a stock trade at the price that you set up. Think about how important that might be, especially around the IPO times, right? So we have a lot of features there and we have a whole lot more coming. Check it out at mymoneyja.com. Right? Check the show notes for a link and also for a discount. Or you can just go straight there right now and check it out yourself. That's one last time, www.mymoneyja.com. All right, so back to the show. You notice that I spoke about the dollar, quote unquote, dollar dip, because I think it wanted to be seen as a dollar dip. So what you might find as you... Here's another thing I've learned from doing these things. So I pause a lot, but I don't generally pause a lot when I'm speaking normally. But because of the nature of what I'm talking about, I'm always playing producer in my head. Yeah, so I want to share a gift with you guys, but I'm also very aware that people are listening, and finance carries feelings heavy.
Always, I swear to you, unnecessarily.
I think unnecessarily, but the fact that it does, and I came across it in my own journey, and then as I've done more research and checked and read stuff in the past, it is not new and it is not unique. It is in everywhere there's finance, there's feelings, and in many ways you can kind of understand that, because in many we are trading value. It is a direct value thing, and it's a personal value system in which all the players are pretending that it's not a personal value that is being traded. Like, I believe, you hear people talk about stocks that them buy. I believe in QWI, so I bought it, right? So when it got down, it hurt me. And along comes Matthew talking about, oh, that's a waste stock. I wouldn't put my money there. And it hurt me, but I can't respond like I'm hurt. So, like I was reading something the other night and they say, anger is a secondary response.
Yeah.
So people, you hear it a lot, but anger is never the first thing. It's somebody's hurt and then they respond angrily, or somebody's ashamed and then they respond angrily, or embarrassed and blah, 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 right? And so you're hurting my feelings, and then I'm feeling insecure because what it mean that, did I pick wrong? And I might get hurt, and suppose somebody listens to him and them fall, and then the share price dipping on me. Yo, guys, don't take your investment advice from doctors. That's the response that comes out, and that's the angry response. And no, you listen to me very, very.
And I always feel like that somebody will say something like that. I always have it in the back of my mind, like somebody will make some comment at some point in the future. Don't take your advice from doctors.
It is almost certainly going to happen, because because at some point you guys are going to naturally, if you continue to be honest, honesty is the quickest way there. Because as I say, finance carries feelings. So
True.
if you
like how we publicly talk about how we don't like APOs, I know we're going to get backlash from that at some point.
You must. I know you have me on, Mr. Anti-APO. So you definitely... you're definitely going to get backlash from that. And if there's any advice I can give you, is the thing that I've learned and I'm learning still that helps carry me through is I have to go back to my own core, think about what I'm saying, think about the truth of it, think about the usefulness of putting it out there.
Mm-hmm.
And if it is something honest, is something true, then you do it and understand that it's just part of the thing. Somebody's not going to like it, and that's okay. And if you're not doing it for the wrong reasons, then that's just part of the thing.
Yeah, people will disagree with you.
Yeah, and they will disagree. And then that's a funny thing. As Jamaicans, as I've come to realize, we don't have we're not very good at disagreement. We immediately take, as you guys have seen, both of you have done grow up, both of you are in conversations with me and other investors. You see just even a natural reaction to me asking questions.
Yeah.
It's not we're not used to being questioned as Jamaicans. We take being questioned as an offense.
Yeah, it's almost like that's disrespectful.
Yeah. And what you mean? And
how could you ask for that?
Yeah.
Just give me the answer, bro.
Yeah,
just tell me my allocation.
Yeah, it's not. But no, it's not. That's not how it works at all.
Exactly.
And a lot of the times, the questions for me, not a lot of the times, every single time, the questions are the thing that really leads you to the gains. I ask people the questions that I ask myself. So when people ask me certain things, if you get a question from me in response, it is a question that I have to ask myself to answer your question. And I want you to be aware of that question, because like in my role right at this point, I do a lot of teaching. I am always trying to leave the person I'm interacting with enough tools that if they never see me again, if I drop dead tomorrow, they can use those tools on their own. I'm always trying to empower. I'm always trying to teach a man or a woman to fish, because you want the fish, but if I just give you the fish, you're not going to be able to get it again tomorrow. Or if what I use to catch this fish is not going to work to catch another fish, but I'm not going to be there when you need it, when there are only those types of fishes there. And you need to be able to have the skills to do it versus just the person to hand it over to you. And it's annoying at first, but those questions are the things that really, like those questions are the tools.
Yeah.
100%, those questions are the tools. And as Jamaicans, we don't really like being questioned. We view it badly, but
it's for the best.
Yeah, like I said, any advice I can give you is stick to it, know what you're doing, stick to it, and understand that yes, finance come with feelings, so you can step on some toes, but what you also see is that people come around and sometimes not even willingly. Sometimes I joke about all the time. A lot of the things that I got vilified for when I started being a lot more public are things that are just said normally, said as a everybody knows a sort of thing. And I'm thinking, yo, when I was saying it, you were quoting that as an example of why you shouldn't take your advice from this guy, right?
Mm-hmm.
But no, it said normally. So imagine if I had stopped just because somebody was disagreeing with the message that they are now saying as if it is normal. Message wouldn't be out there, right?
True.
Here's the thing. As you guys know, I don't show my money. My money, JA, I show that. But I don't show my money. But you will know from investing that if you are doing the plays, you can't help but to speak about them. It's exciting.
Exactly.
Yeah, it's enthralling. Even if you're not talking about the money, you're talking about the play, because you think it'll work. It's a whole experience, right?
Like my Siboney play. I had to say it on the podcast because I'm just like 109% just so like that's exciting.
Yeah, and some it's not, and you'll know it's not really just about the money. The money is important, but it's, at least from my perspective, it's the seeing of something before it happens, believing that it will happen for the reasons that you have put together, and then seeing it actually happen, and realizing that it's for the, oh my God, and that's the sort of thing that you want primary, to talk about. Yeah, the people who play football cannot help but to talk about football. the people who love football cannot help but to talk about football. But the people who don't and pretend, the people for whom it's just a lane, the people who just trying to fit in, it's like you're the hot girl in the office in World Cup time. You, of course, Italy's your side, right? Because Germany was your side up to last week, but then they dropped out, right? And if Italy drops out, of course, you're always supporting Spain. And this will go right up until the winner, and whoever wins, you were always supporting that winning side, right? And then when World Cup done, and you're not really there until the next 4 years or whatever, right? But the guy who is out playing the corner league with him friend them every Sunday, when he talks about football, it is immediately apparent the difference between somebody who is playing the game and somebody who is just talking about the game.
Mm-hmm.
And you can't hide it when you're talking. You can't hide it when you actually play it. And in this thing where it's not like you have to be a pro athlete to get into it, you just have to you don't even have to actually be in it. You can be doing player-owned plays, or I was just looking at something, or I just see something. Once you act, playing the game don't really mean putting money in it only. It means truly playing the game, being involved in the thing. And when somebody isn't really there, it shows. And those guys that you mentioned, it's obvious that they don't do it. To me, it is plain that they don't do it, because you can hear that you don't really know what you're talking about.
Yes.
You're like the person who you have your grandfather was from Jamaica and your grandmother, and your parents grew up in Florida, and you grew up in New York to these parents who grew up in Florida to Jamaican parents. And so in the American context, you're saying, oh, Sean is Jamaican. But Sean is not Jamaican. Sean has been to Jamaica 2 summers when he was younger. He's not Jamaican.
In Ochi, went to Ochi too.
Yeah, right. His father says he's Jamaican. His father calls himself Jamaican because his father grew up in a household that considered themselves to be Jamaican in Florida. So he describes himself as Jamaican, and so his child describes himself as Jamaican also. And that works completely until you're actually talking to a Jamaican who can tell immediately that you are not Jamaican. And we'll be nice and we'll say, oh, of course. Randy here, just saying that if you want to be able to understand the stock market, you want to understand this tax thing here is talking about, if you want to learn to analyze companies, if you want to learn how to make deliberate profit in the market. So not, boy, I'm going to buy an IPO and it go up and make some money. Nothing wrong with that. But if you want to be able to do it deliberately and repeatedly, if you want to learn how to understand the market, regardless of your level of financial expertise or love of math, check out Grower. Grower stands for Grow Rich with Research, and it's an investment class that I do twice a month. You can get to it at www.everymickle.com/grower. That's www.everymickle.com/GRWR. Grow Rich with Research. Trust me, if you want to learn to understand the market, there is no better course out there. It is built for everybody, regardless of their level of understanding. If you really don't understand much and you want a place where I want somebody to explain it to me and break it down simple, then this is it. If you want to be able to ask any questions, big or small, sensible or supposedly stupid, there's no stupid questions, but if you want to ask, there's also a space for you to be able to ask them. There's anything that you need to learn about the market to get started, you can learn it at Grow. It's done twice a month. We do it in 2 formats. It's a 1-day workshop in its truest format. So we take 1 day on the weekend and we start the day with you maybe knowing absolutely nothing at all. And the idea is that at the end of the day, you should have a fuller idea about how the actual market works, how the stock market works, what's happening there. It should no longer be just gibberish to you. It should actually make sense and start being something practical that you can lean into and get into. The other version of Grow is a split version of Grow, where for the people who might not have the time, may not think they have the attention span for a whole day class. And trust me, I understand that. I would have not set up a class all day to be boring because I'd drop asleep in the middle of it. But I understand the thinking. If your life set up in a way where you can't dedicate a whole day to learn about this thing, then we do split Grow. It's the same information, but it's put over 2 evenings. So do either version, whichever one works for you. works for you, you'll get the same information with both of them, you'll get the same skill set with both of them, and it really is worth it. Trust me. everymickle.com/grow, GRWR. If you want, you can click the link in the show notes and go to grow, and you can enter this code at checkout, earning bricks, and you'll get a 10% discount. Or, and that's just for listeners of this podcast, by the way, or you can just go there straight to yourself, and it's everymickle.com, everymickle.com/GRWR. And those discounts keep coming, right? Because not only will you get a discount to grow, but people who do grow get a discount on their first advisory session with independent advisor Danai Hall. Danai Hall, you can check him out at dhalladvisory.com. But if you're really smart, you do grow, so you learn how we do what we do, and then you also take the discount to go and see Danai. And on top of that, you also get a discount to mymoneyja.com. So try to ensure that everybody who does grow gets a whole lot of value. The idea is that you should get a lot of value on top of the value that you put in. So come learn how to turn your brick into 2 bricks or your 2 bricks into 4 bricks, but do it deliberately, not just a luck thing, not a guessing thing. everymickle.com/grow. Come and learn how to grow it through research. All right, so back to the episode now. Yeah, I saw a quote the other day where the guy that wrote, is it Blink, or he's a popular guy. He wrote a really popular book. He has fuzzy hair. He's a Jew from New York, and he's Jamaican also. What's the name of the book? Blink. I'll tell you. Malcolm Gladwell. And if you saw that,
The Power of Thinking Without Thinking.
He has Blink, and he has a couple of those books, right? Cool books, good books. But he has a post with Shelly as in the runner.
Yeah, I saw that. Yeah.
And she, he's saying that, he said to her that, he said, I'm half Jamaican. He asked Shelly, and I'm half Jamaican, and Shelly responds, there is no such thing as a half Jamaican. and he posted it, and it looked good, and it is good. I don't think it was meant badly at all. But also, if you're actually Jamaican, there really is no such thing as a half Jamaican. You're either Jamaican or you're not. No, that's a very wonderful response from Shelly.
Yeah. I don't know if she really meant for it to be like that.
And I don't want to twist her meaning. I don't think she meant it bad at all. No diss to her at all. Or him,
for sure.
Me,
but you can spin that.
Yeah,
you really don't know what she's saying.
Exactly. And more importantly, the point of the thing is that the second a Jamaican is talking to a Jamaican, right? There's you don't understand the daily scourge of society that is the taxi man. You don't understand the curse that is the yin yang. You're not really a Jamaican unless you know those things. And so you don't have to be born in Jamaica to be a Jamaican. But the second somebody who is actually Jamaican is talking to somebody who just says they're Jamaican, the Jamaican immediately knows that, you're not really a Jamaican, right? You hear a loud sound and you think it's a vehicle exhaust or fireworks. Not primetime news, right? It's the same way when somebody who actually invests, somebody who actually is playing the game, speaks to somebody who is talking about the game, the difference is immediately obvious. You're just saying the thing that sounds fancy and nice. I'm talking about me having to think about the light bill this month or not. That's the difference between getting it right or getting it wrong.
Just call
or
maybe Randy. Just call his name.
No, you guys don't want that sort of stuff, right?
I'm editing. I'll edit that.
Yeah, I see. You guys don't. I don't have. I have lived years in the fire, so I don't it. To me, it's clear. So sometimes I hear you guys call names, and I'm surprised because I'm that person don't know what they're talking about, and I didn't know that they were seen that way.
Yep.
And to me, it's dangerous.
It's very dangerous, actually. Very, very dangerous. Trust me.
What were you talking about before?
Sorry, fake investors. Yeah.
Whoa.
Accurate.
Yeah. The thing my thing is, I'm not a believer in being exclusionary unnecessarily. But I think that you have to have standards, and the game is getting more and more. The game is getting more and more interesting as you go along. But I don't want to say dangerous, but the, the longer you invest, the higher the stakes get.
Mhm.
And in this space where Jamaica is currently, we have a lot of new people coming in. And yeah, you're right. A lot of new people look on anybody who is talking what sounds financy
Mhm.
as a finance person.
Mhm. And
But
then them talk about the balance sheet. What? Yo,
right,
they must know what they're talking about. Yo, instead of APO good, let
definitely,
me go buy it then, no?
right, yeah, and that's a great way to lose money.
Yeah.
And you find, like, just think. So I don't spend that much time paying attention to what, that's what I consider to be the noise. I look at the curve to
Mhm.
have an idea where they are and how they think, because I will have to predict them. They're who I need to stay way ahead of, right?
Mhm.
But but for a person just coming in, you think everybody talking about finance is a finance person, and that is dangerous. And I feel so much the weight of responsibility. Funny enough, Dana and I were talking last night after Brick Talk, and those are I wish those conversations could be shared. Though. Like the best. It was the same thing when we're doing earnings season. The
Mhm.
pre conversation, post conversation, to us, at least to me, is nicer than the actual podcast conversation,
Mhm.
because no holds barred, and then you can really have a conversation without the weight of the public. But I think about how much energy we put into being actually responsible. And that comes back to the whole fake investor, just like a fake Jamaican kind of thing, where there's a real level of responsibility. And then there is, I am pretending to be responsible. So any fool and them cousin can say, oh, I'm not a licensed investment advisor. Don't take this as investment advice. It takes nothing to say that, right?
Mhm.
Yeah,
That,
fully agree.
on the scale of responsibility, that might be point one.
Mhm.
Mhm.
In fact, I used to joke, I joke privately with Danai that I hear people saying that, and I realize that I know that a lot of people say it simply because it is said all the time, but they don't really realize whether or not they need to say it, because you don't actually need to say it in many of the cases that it's said. It is just it's like security theater. It is the pretense of, oh, I'm being responsible, guys. Um, but real responsibility is more along the lines of, let me think about what it is I'm saying, because I don't know who is listening to this, where they're listening to it, and how they're going to take it. And I want to be as clear as possible to get my actual intent across,
Mhm. People hear
so
what they
that the person.
want. People hear what they want to hear. So if you say something
Exactly.
about a stock that isn't necessarily bad, but if they think it's bad, they'll be like, "Oh no, he's saying something bad about his stock," and then
Yeah, Randy said.
Exactly.
Randy say hashtag
Or,
Randy say.
yeah. or the flip side, they think you're saying something good.
Uh-huh.
Because I like, if you naturally ask me, yo, do you think XYZ is good? And I'm naturally talking about something that I think is good for my own reasons,
Mhm.
whatever, for my own reasons of why I think it's good. I'm going to say the word good. I'm going to speak about it in good terms.
Uh-huh.
And you can't follow that, right?
Imagine when
Because you don't
shorting
know.
comes and you're talking about Cygnus with another APO. You're like, oh yeah, Cygnus, it'll be very interesting with what's coming up with their APO. You might be shorting it. And that person is thinking to go long and they're like, okay, let me buy this. But
Yeah,
At
because of
this
how
point,
Randy speaks about it. Yeah, he's like, yeah, man.
good company, strong profits, you know?
yeah,
Yeah,
yeah.
no,
Like, I'm gonna be excited about the thing because I'm excited about it. It doesn't necessarily mean my excitement is not a direct translation to,
Mhm,
oh, you should definitely buy this.
mhm, mhm,
Yeah, that's not at all what my excitement is. But if you want to hear that, you might. And so, like, the weight of responsibility on me is, I feel it in, yo, let me not let the wrong idea come across. Let me not have people think the wrong thing. And for me personally, it's not just think the wrong thing. I actually feel a whole lot of that responsibility more along the lines of, let me not have somebody leave with a tool that is not actually a tool. You get me? I don't want, hold on for me. As you heard, somebody's at my front door. Hi guys, Randy again. I hope you enjoyed the first part of a multi-part episode that we did with the Limitless guys. Check out the link to the Limitless Podcast in the description and give them a subscription, a click follow, or whatever it is showing as on the app that you're using, the podcast app that you're doing. But give them a follow so that you can be notified whenever the next part drops. Check out other discount links also to save and earn some money, and listen out for the weekly Brick Talk Twitter Spaces being shared here. It's still earning season. Hope you guys enjoy it. I'm going to try.
Tweet about it.
Earning season, bro.